Crad with the raid. All right, it's a couple minutes early, but I think I'm okay with that because we're going to be in just chatting mode anyway. Oh, thank you, everybody. Crad, you are an absolute dear. How did the rest of your stream go, darling? Pardon me while I pack a bowl. Welcome in, Raiders. How's it going? Thank you, guys. It's crazy to me. I can't believe I've been doing this a year. That's just... Whew. Oh my god. Here comes the next raid, Cosmos. Hey, Cosmos. How did Rhythm Doctor go? I see that you swapped to that. Hap stream birth. Oh my god, you guys are absolutely wonderful. It was good. I'm glad to hear that. Wonderful. It kicked ass, took names, the usual. Valid. Crat, valid. Spin was rough. Rhythm Doctor was hype. I'm sorry. You having a little bit of trouble today. Yeah, how was the rest of your birthday, Cosmos? Everybody wish Cosmos a belated happy birthday. Her birthday was yesterday. I'm doing something weird. I'm going to be taking some notes here and there during this stream, which is just crazy to me, but you know. Alright, there's the first set. Oh, listen, Epic. I'm live. I don't care about the free games. I'll look later. Got drunk and passed out on my couch at like 8:30. I was wondering what happened to you. It sounds like it was a good birthday. I'm glad to hear it. Okay, I'm gonna take a nice big rip off this bowl because I'm a little bit nervous, but not like a lot, just a touch. So you did indeed win. You did indeed. All right, so here's how this is gonna go today. Oh, thank you, Jap. You're so sweet. And you actually, this is perfect. So, there are a few things going today. Obviously, it's my streamversary. 1 year. We'll get into how that all craziness happened a little bit later. But, so the streamversary is running. There's also a subathon. For every sub or gifted sub, I will add 15 minutes to the stream. Those 15 minutes start after the Q&A because I don't want that taking up the time that you guys are adding. So Jap, you're actually the first. So that is rage time. That is 1:15 minutes right there. All right. Who the fuck is calling me? Go away. Hello, Kai. So the subathon is going. And like I said, that adds 15 minutes for any sub or gifted sub. The other thing that I have not been advertising quite as widely, but is also happening, is if you subscribe, cheer 500 bits, or donate $5 for each one of those that you do, you will get a raffle ticket for your very own Switch Lite. Now that I have a Switch console in its full capacity, I do not need my Switch Lite, and it is still in very good condition and has a charging cord with it. The only thing to note is this. I will ship it anywhere, but if shipping is over $20, I'm going to need you to pay the remainder. And I'm sorry about that. I know that that's a little kind of backwards for a raffle, but I'm unfortunately not made of money and I'm really broke right now. So, that's how that works. Hey, Jap gets another tick in the list of raffle tickets. Like, where? You know what? I can look these up at the end of the stream. That might be a better call, honestly. So that is 2 tickets for Jap now. You're such a blessing. Thank you so much. And then, so that's the streamversary, the raffle, the subathon, the Q&A. We're going to be starting that here shortly. I already have collected the questions. I gave you guys some time to send them into my Curious Cat. I wrote down the ones that I'm going to be answering, which I think is all of them. I don't think there were any that I looked at and went, no, I can't respond to these. Follow-ups are allowed, Discussion is allowed, but I'm not taking any new questions. This is because, in particular, these questions deal a lot with the LGBTQIA plus community, as well as me, myself, as a trans individual. And because this can be a little bit of a touchy subject, and we have to be a little bit careful with things, because I don't want to offend anyone, nor do I want anyone else to be offended, no new questions, except for follow-ups, clarifications on things that I'm saying or answering. Those are fine. And discussion is totally welcome. I would like for this to be a very chill, kind of conversational stream almost. Because if I start talking too much, I'm going to get cotton mouth. It's already happening. I can feel it. Anyway. So those are the things that's happening. I know that's a lot. If at any point you need clarification on the rules, there are commands in the channel and also timers on the bot to let you know what is going on. So, without further ado, I'm going to look at my handy dandy little cheat sheet here. Because as much as I'd like to say I just know this off the top of my head, I do not. And let's be fair, writing things just is very satisfying, you know? All right. So, let's see. I numbered these because these questions range from like, what's your favorite color to like ridiculous slangs, and it's great, and I love them, and you guys came up with some great questions. I will also say that some of these questions are a little bit older because I was going to do this stream like a year ago and I didn't. So I have some questions from there. So the first thing we're going to start with, this question just seemed like an apt place to start. How did you get into streaming, and what do I use to stream? So we'll start with the easy part. What I use to stream is Streamlabs OBS with, I don't remember what kind of computer I have. It's a nice one. It's a CyberPower PC. I am wearing the rings. Bless Aiden for reminding me because I almost forgot. Oops, old questions for me that I won't even remember asking. Potentially Cosmos, but it's fine. I just went through the DMs a little bit and searched for them. Yeah, and then I've got just basic setup, honestly. I wouldn't say I have anything overly complicated. If anyone has any, like, more particular questions about my setup, let me know, and I can look into, like, what the actual specs are. Although I think they're actually down below my stream, potentially. I think I put in my specs. And yes, my computer's name is Zapdos. Do not judge me. I have a thing. As for how I got into streaming, so this is probably going to be the longest story that you guys hear and the longest answer to any questions. What's your L3 cache on the PC? My what, Kai? Oh my God. What? Fuck. Oh my God. Actually, I have to mention one more thing because I forgot. So my computer's been being stupid, but I don't know if it's my computer or the like electricity in the house. My computer's been randomly shutting down here and there. If that happens, please just hang out. I'll be back. It literally, it just takes me rebooting it and it's back. But like, if that happens, because it happened yesterday, please just be patient with me and I will return as quickly as possible. So, how did I get into streaming? So it's my streamversary, and it's March 5th. So last year in March, I was a mess. An absolute mess. I had just dropped out of college again. Oh, thank you for the host, Jap. I really appreciate that. I was 2 credits in field camp, shy of a geology degree. Some of you know this. I have that Channel Point redemption called Rock Out that you can redeem, and I go and grab one of my rock samples, and I go, hey, look at the shiny! I really enjoyed my time there, but unfortunately, due to some friction between me and the department head, I had switched majors 2 weeks before my last semester, which then became my last 2 semesters. I switched majors and was going to take the geology minor because I've already completed that technically. And long story short, my mental health declined completely to the point where I dropped out. Hi, Sam. Welcome in. This is not as depressing as it sounds, I promise. So that happened. So the next semester started in January of 2020, and I was not a student. At this point in time, I was looking into potentially being able to get top surgery. There was not a lot of hope in this regard, as affording it was the big question mark. And my therapist had urged me to look into a few things, and so she and I were doing some research. Um, and started to look kind of promising. So the reason this story is so detailed is because this ties into a few of the later questions. Wow, Simon, how do we share so much of the same backstory? Oh, crad. I'm sure we share a lot, actually. Um, so, oh, I forgot to add 15 minutes for the bits. Whoops. So there's that. Okay. Hi, Goop. I'm doing pretty good. I'm currently telling people how I got into streaming. So, we were in January. We were approaching my 30th birthday in February, and I was having a little bit of a hard time with that. I'm going to make this part pretty short. Basically, 2 immediate family members and 1 family member's spouse. Ooh, there's a good way of putting it. Weren't speaking directly against my decision to get surgery, but were very non-supportive. I'm going to put it that way without getting into much detail. So you guys have heard me refer to, oftentimes I refer to my neutral brother, who's my oldest brother. He's the oldest of the 3 of us, and my asshole brother, who is the middle child. And my asshole brother, basically, I told him about the chance of getting surgery, and he never replied. My mother could not wrap her head around the fact that I didn't want to be a guy. And we had a couple of rough confrontations over the phone, and long story short, she and I don't speak anymore, and I also do not speak to my asshole brother. So, the reason I'm telling you this is because I was in kind of a crap mental state, and for those of you that don't know, my best friend Vivi and I, we've known each other for a handful of years now, and are very, very good friends. When COVID happened, decided to start looking into streaming, and I was not living here at that point. I was living with a couple of friends in a trailer not too far from campus, and it sounded like a fun idea. She started, and I would play Overwatch with her on the stream, and the interactions that she was having with people and the people she was meeting were so validating, I think is the word that I want to use. Hey, Juke! It was really, really validating to watch people interact with her that way and her having so much fun. And I approached my father and I said, I kind of want to try this. And honestly, my computer's kind of going anyway. Can we look into something? Long story short on that one, we worked together, we figured out how to get it going, and we got my stream up and going, and the rest is kind of history. But what got me into streaming was less games and more the community of Twitch, which is also another thing. As many of you know, and if you have not seen the new channel logo, it does exist. There's a new channel logo, and it says just be kind, because my motto is it costs nothing to be kind, with Vivi's tag on the end, or just keep your mouth shut. And so I found that it was frustrating to me that specifically Overwatch was such a toxic game. And I was meeting so many amazing people if you were just nice. And I was like, fuck it. You know what? This is how we're going to do this. If I'm going to be a streamer, I'm going to make damn sure that every single person that sits in my chat feels that they are in a place that they can trust everyone in that chat. And if that means that I never make it big, I'm fine with that, because it means that I have the best people. You know? And that's kind of how I feel about that. So that's where I started streaming, I guess. Um, we'll take a step back from the serious stuff and have a second. Let me take some water. Jesus. My dad is such a G. So now I live at home again, with COVID and me not being in school and not being able to work and yada, yada, yada. I live at home. He let me paint this room. I have free reign to do whatever I want with it. He deals with me screaming curse words as I die in Celeste for the 1000th time. And he's fantastic. And there's no way I would be able to do what I've done without him. He's also the reason I was able to recover comfortably somewhere when I did get top surgery, which did end up being fully covered incredibly. If any of you know any trans people that live in Michigan that want top surgery and have the Michigan Medicaid, they can get it covered. So feel free to send me a message if you need more info on that. Yeah, cred, it was insane. My top surgery date was June 5th, so I'm actually pretty close to a year now and have never ever been happier. It's incredible. So yeah. So moving on to the less serious question for a minute, and I'm gonna cross this off so that I don't forget that one of my friends actually traveled to Michigan for bottom surgery this year. I guess Michigan is the place to go for that. I guess when my therapist first brought it up, I genuinely was like, I don't think it's possible. I feel like I would have heard about this. And the thing that I hear constantly is that it's nearly impossible. And I made a few phone calls and was explicitly told no. It took my therapist calling and speaking directly to a supervisor and asking the correct questions to get the straight answer. And then we finally got full approval and everything after the consult. So my therapist is also a G. We love her. But yeah, and so things went really well for a while. And now we're here, and I have all of your wonderful questions. So we're going to do a quick fire on a couple of these because they're simple and they're fun. Favorite color? I have a couple. Forest green. Rarely am I disappointed by a shade of blue. And golden, yellow, orange. Those are the three. My top three faves. That's cheating. One color. Only one. Then the golden orange. Golden, yellow, orange. Whatever the fuck you want to call it. Sunlight. That's cheating. That's the second time I've had to answer that question this week. And you're the only one that called me out on having more than one. If you're lucky, I've had three terrible ones. Sunset orange. Ooh, there you go. That's like saffron. I love you guys. Yeah, I've had a couple of bad therapists over the years, but the one I have right now is fantastic. Do I like sushi? Sometimes. What's my favorite sushi? California rolls. Specifically spicy California rolls. Absolutely fucking love them. They're so good. I got into sushi when I lived in Colorado. It was the first time I'd ever had it. And that I don't judge away. I don't like fish. I'm sorry. You're not going to get me to eat raw fish. It's not going to happen. But if you give me the simple stuff, then I will eat it. And if that's the only way you can get me to eat sushi, that's the only way. Cosmos. Sushi in America. Sushi in the US kind of suck, in my opinion. Yeah, no, it probably does. What about tofu skin? I've only had tofu and something else. It might have been a miso soup, and I did not like it. I'm gonna make you some amazing sushi sometime. Oh my god. Okay. I feel like I stepped into the same landmine I did in Colorado when I told people I didn't like beer, and then I got so many varieties of beer thrown at me for an entire year before people finally started admitting defeat. The worst decided that since he was work friends with my mom, Dr. Patient confidentiality didn't exist. Not the best. Jesus, crad. Oh my god, I'm so sorry. Fruit sushi? What? So yeah, that's that. Preferred pasta sauce? Alfredo. Hands down. I don't like red sauce. The people in the generations past of my family are probably rolling in their graves because they're Sicilian. But I do not like red sauce, and I love Alfredo sauce. It's so good. As an ex-sushi chef, I just have a lot invested in this. I didn't know you're an ex-sushi chef. Man, the more you know. That's really cool. Going on a trip, so I can't stay, unfortunately. I hope your trip goes well, and you have fun, and you are safe. Thank you so much for dropping in, Juk. It's always nice to see you. I wanted to drop into your stream earlier, but I can't remember. I think I saw that you were live. But it's been a crazy morning, and my anxiety's been doing this. It's been fun. I don't like lager and stout, but love ale. Sure. Yep. Thank you, Juk. Okay, so that was preferred pasta sauce. Everybody wanted me to talk about food. What is the best meal you've made for yourself? So, all different beers. Oh, I didn't know that those actually, like, counted as, like... Are they, like, an overall... Like, a lager is kind of an umbrella term, and then underneath it, a bunch of stuff, like, falls. Same with ale and stout. I don't know. But I have tried many a beer. However, I will say that most of those were, like, Colorado and Michigan beers, but also Michigan is really... They love their craft beer. Main three types. Lager is mainly what you'll be given as beer. But I won't go into that. What about pale beers, though? Okay, so the issue that I have with beer is that universal flavor that is in every beer is what I don't like. I've been told it's the hops, but I'm not sure if that's accurate. Yes, there we go. Yep. I just don't like it. I hate beer for the exact same reason. Yep. It's kind of how I feel about just alcohol in general, but there are some exceptions. But yeah, so the best meal I've ever made for myself, there was one day when I was living in the trailer, and me and my best friend Brooke, we had started stockpiling chicken breast from Costco because it was so hard to find, because this was at the beginning of COVID with so many shortages on shit. So anytime we found it, we would, like, get a bunch of chicken breasts and throw them into the freezer and be like, we'll get there. Then we started making stir fries and other things. And there was one day we, like, didn't have everything for a stir fry, but we had the ingredients for what I ended up putting together, which was chicken breast seasoned with this, like, orange peel spice that I had picked up, stuffed with feta cheese, cilantro, serrano pepper, and I think that was all it was stuffed with, and then put over rice with cilantro in it. And it was literally, I was just like, I don't know, can you stuff chicken breast with feta cheese? And just went with it, and it was so good, you guys. It was so... I haven't made it since, and I really need to. I'd never stuffed chicken before in my life, either. That was a fun experience to learn. An acquired taste, but spirits are better anyway. Spirits are grim. You don't want to meet Spirited Sam. Oh, yes, I do. I'm a mean, evil, horrible person. Sam. Gotta see Spirited Sam at least once in my life. I'm actually going to make that next week now. You should... Oh, green onion. That was the other thing. So it's stuffed with cilantro, feta cheese, serrano pepper. I'd recommend removing most of, if not all of, the seeds from the serrano. And then green onion. That's what it was. I always forget the green onion. I don't know why. Also, I'm sorry for my bot spamming so much. It makes it easier than me having to stop and explain everything all the time. But yeah, so that was the best meal I made for myself. It was really heckin' good. We don't get serrano peppers? You mean... Serrano? I don't even know if I spelled that right. It would probably work. You have Anaheim? You you have Anaheim peppers, it might work with Anaheim. It's a little bit milder. Cosmos. Okay. So now we're going to bop back to a more serious question. So I'm going to take a drink of water and hit this bowl. Most supermarket do red, green, or bird eye? Crad. If you're going to do that, take the ghost pepper and like wave it over the feta cheese and then just put the feta cheese in. You'll be fine. Also, Stardew Game is here, so unboxing. So sorry, I've quite... Oh, send pictures. For those who don't know, Cosmos bought herself the Stardew Valley board game, which is brand new, for her birthday. Crad, you ordered it too? Fuck yeah. Awesome. I love chili, though. Ghost is tame. Oh, well, I mean, at that point. Although, I feel like a ghost pepper is going to have a lot different flavor than an Anaheim would. Unsure. Experiment with it. I mean, there's so many different ways you could go with that. The orange peel spice thing was like, I don't know. Brooke and I were at the supermarket one day and looking at the supermarket. You got me saying we were at the grocery store. We were standing in front of the spice racks and I was like, you know what? Fuck it. We don't have any like fancy spices, and so we looked through it, and I decided to go with this orange peel spice that's really good, really good. I'll just use some Mad Hot chili instead of Serrano. Valid. I've made a bad financial decision, but it's worth it to appease the mental. Valid. Okay, I'm gonna take a rip here. So this, ooh, excuse me. This is kind of why I was a little bit more detailed in my story of how I got into streaming earlier. I'll be ripping in a minute. Fuck yeah. Cheers, Kai. So the question is this. What is the hardest part about the transition you're going through, specifically mentally over physically? What questions pervade your mind, and how do you cope with them and rise above them? So this is a question from last year when I was collecting questions as I was trying to get approved for top surgery. And honestly, that's a damn good question. Yeah, it is. It really, really is. The hardest part about it for me kind of was the fact that it drew a line where there had been the ability and the chance. I haven't thought through this answer all the way. I just kind of know generally how I wanted to answer it. I was still able to see my asshole brother and his wife, and I would still speak to my mother. Were they always good interactions? No. But this kind of a change and a transition for me drew a hard line that I was no longer able or willing to cross. And so basically the hardest part for me was coming to terms with the fact that I did know who I was, and I had known for the majority of my life, but it wasn't what a lot of people wanted me to be, and they weren't willing to accept me. Rather, they still criticized based on what I hadn't done or didn't do based on what they thought. And honestly, that creates quite a feeling of alienation and isolation, and especially because they were immediate family members that I had been trying for decades to find a way to get on with and please. I'm very much a people pleaser, for those that you don't know that. Most of you probably know that. And it was a really, really, really rough time for me. But again, that's what pushed me into streaming, because in the short time that Vivi streamed before I joined her, which was not very long, surprisingly, I was seeing good people. And at a time when COVID was keeping everyone quarantined and shut down, especially Michigan. I'm on the west side, not the east side, but it was still pretty bad here. Still kind of is. In a time when let me back up a little bit. My family is very much about family first. I agree with this. However, I also state that family doesn't get a pass. And I stated that for years, and I finally stopped being a hypocrite and stopped giving them a pass. And I had for so long only had that, really. And Fergie, this is not your Q&A. You old lady. Come here. Come here. Old lady. Okay. So I had to come to terms with the fact that I basically had lost all but my dad in my family. My extended family is mediocre at what they... Cleo perked up at the meow. Yeah, fucking yodeler. And I kind of was just like... I've always been a little bit misanthropic. And that kind of a blow when you already deal with depression and anxiety and other things, as well as ADHD, is harsh. And I was kind of just like, people fucking suck, and I don't want to deal with them anymore. And then playing Overwatch with Vivi and constantly seeing the assholes, it just kind of like reinforced that. But then I started finding the occasional person who, when I would say, hey, it costs nothing to be kind, and wish them a good game, regardless of whose team they were on, they'd drop into my stream. Some of them stuck around. Some of them are still here. And that's kind of how I cope with that and rise above it, is I found a way to remind myself that good people exist. As cliche, cheesy, and corny as that sounds, as I am made of cliches, corn and cheese, that's how I dealt with it. Streaming became a coping mechanism and a recreation and a hangout with friends and just being able to find incredible people. And that's what has gotten me through the past year. And not only gotten me through, but boosted me up and pushed me even further. I've been streaming for a year, you guys. I had so many subscribers that I was able to add a new emote. Speaking of which, for those of you that have not seen it yet, hello. You now have a hi emote as the tier 1 subscriber. And I'm like designing that as a mascot, by the way. It's very, very cute. I'm really proud of that. But yeah, it's also in the new logo that says just be kind. And as simple and kind of meh as that logo looks at first glance, if you've been in this stream, you know that it's not just cliche cheese and corn. That's what this stream is. So yeah, kind of following up on that, the next question is, what did it take for you to be comfortable living and showing your authentic self to others? Shelly! Hello! Thank you for the 500 bits! That's gonna get you, let's see, an extra ticket and 15 minutes added to the clock. Thank you. Thank you for that cheer. You are dear. Welcome. Oh, that rhymed. Welcome to the stream. I feel like I kind of already answered what did it take for me to be comfortable living and showing my authentic self to others, although it had happened prior to streaming as well, while I was at school. I took an LGBT identities class that was taught by a married lesbian whom I absolutely adore. She's a fantastic person, and that was the first time, about 6 years ago now, that I heard the term non-binary and went, that's a thing? Yes, it's a thing, and it's been a thing for a very, 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 very long time. And so it was that class that made me feel comfortable enough to actually come out to them at the end of that semester after I had tossed and turned over the idea throughout, taking chemistry and calculus and a bunch of geo classes and being really stressed. But from that point out, it just took a handful of people, friends that I trusted, that I was able to talk to about it and say, hey, I'm experimenting with a name change, I'm experimenting with a pronoun change, and people that I trusted with that information that I knew wouldn't leave me because of it and also would support me regardless of it. So that was what it took. So that was that one. On that topic, there was another question that says, best way to support and be an ally to LGBTQIA plus friends from your perspective. Listen to them. Know that you won't necessarily understand, but support does not require understanding. Neither does acceptance. And honestly, those are the biggest parts, because this is great. I'm going to get 2 questions in here. So another question that I have is it bad to correct pronouns on others' behalf? This is individualistic. For me, I love it if people correct someone on my pronouns, because usually I'm too much of a chicken to do it myself. I'm getting a little bit better at that. However, it just, sometimes I'm like, I don't want to say something and then have somebody jump on me, and it's this whole thing. A friend correcting someone on my pronouns is like, envision a loyal knight with a shield stepping forward in front of me, putting up a shield and going, no, it's this. Which means any attack that comes at me is already being defended against, because I have a stalwart supporter right here. I asked a similar, but also about streamers. Follow up. Cosmos, my brain isn't working right now. What's your question? I'm so sorry. While you respond to that, I'm going to keep going. So for me, yes, please do correct people if they use the wrong pronouns for me. But the umbrella answer that I'm going to get is ask the person in private when you get a chance. Don't do it until you ask, because some people are out in some circles and not in others. Some people don't want to broadcast it. Some people just don't care. And that's fine too. Some people use multiple pronouns and don't mind going back and forth between them. It's going to be individualistic. So my advice is just ask, listen to the response, and do your best. Replace friends with just other LGBTQIA streamers. Okay, so you're saying best way to support and be an ally to other streamers that are in the queer community from your perspective. Okay. Be there. Fucking fight for the trans tag that is not on Twitch that needs to be. It has been being rallied for a long time by a group of individuals. I see it all the time. And I really wish that it was a tag. There's multiple reasonings as to why it should be a separate tag. And a lot of it has to do with people having to deal with assholes dropping into their streams. And the way that it would work would potentially help with that a little bit. Yeah, use the tag always. Ban anyone in chat being toxic about it. That's my approach. That is a fantastic approach. That tag is also always on my stream. I know some people would prefer that tag only be used for games that specifically deal with that topic. However, I think the tag itself says that it also applies to the streamer themselves. And so I think that, yes, that is a very good way of doing that. Because, yeah, people will just drop in and be fucking transphobic or assholes. And you'll be like, oh, hey, thanks. I'm just going to block you now. Peace out. It's a very easy way to weed through people. So, Yeah. All right. So there's those. I think those are all the like specifically queer topics. Make me dab. All right. I was gonna take a drink. Hang on. I realized I was supposed to actually dab and then I forgot. Hi, Vivi. Thank you. All right, so what do we got next here? Oh, I labeled two. I think I might have skipped around a bit. No, I just have 3 different questions labeled as 10. I can't see the stream at all, but Happy New Year. Happy New Year, Vivi. I love you. Poor Vivi is on very, very, very bad internet or data right now. So yeah, I see we also share the same brain cell. That's all right. A couple of these are pretty quick fire again. So 2 of these go together. Do I like jazz? Sometimes. And what's my favorite music? I'm sorry, I have to say pop. Because if you were to look into my fucking Spotify playlist, it's probably pop. But I'll give you the top 3 are probably pop, alternative rock, and Disney or other animated soundtracks that are musicals. I have a playlist on Spotify labeled You Have a Problem, and it has 3 songs from Frozen 2 on it. 3. Anyway. Lost in the Woods? No. And now that's stuck in my head. Thanks. I might have to watch that later. Favorite dog breed? Vivi, if you didn't send that, I would be very surprised. My favorite dog breed is honestly Border Collie. I just really, really, really love Border Collies. They just look so cute and energetic, and they love you so much. I do love Australian Shepherds. I had one growing up. I glanced over at the photo. No. But I worked at a doggy day school for a little while when I was like 16, and there were a few Border Collies there that I really, really, really enjoyed. One's name was Bandit, and he had all black except for tuxedo white stripe, and he was such a sweetheart. He was like my favorite kind of dog I'd ever seen. So yeah, that's my favorite breed of dog. Love animals. Definitely love cats, as you all know. The yodeler you hear is actually my dad's cat. I'm not sure where mine is. He's probably asleep in some sun somewhere. What is your love language? Okay, so this was sent last year, I'm pretty sure. And I'm also pretty sure that this was sent when that quiz was going around that everybody wanted. And I think I took it and got touch. That's all I got. That's all I got. Sorry. I wish I could, yeah, I got nothing else other than that. Oh my god, my bot is just banning? Spamming now. Yeah. So, sorry for not a more detailed answer on that one. Last kind of in-depth serious question is, and God, I've been thinking about this one for days, just trying to figure out how I wanted to approach it, is in what ways can the internet develop to protect users without protecting harmful messages? So, this is a hard one. And I think because I am not knowledgeable enough to state specific ways, like within how things are run, I think what I would say is, so you know when you're taking like cultural geography classes and shit, and people are like, the biggest thing that you can do to help like third world countries is help them educate, because an educated populace is much better. We all know this. I think down to one point, that's what you would have to do. Unfortunately, I can't state how exactly you could do that because freedom of speech also exists, and I don't want that to go away. But that also means that fake news exists, and assholes exist, and they find those things and use it to support themselves and their ideas rather than educate themselves and the people around them properly. So, like, that one's kind of a back and forth for me. I'm not really sure, other than a broad general statement of educate. And I wish I had a better answer than that, because that's what I'm trying to do. Fergie! Good God! Gosh, oh, fine, Biz. Alright, cheers, Vivi. But yeah, that I wish I had a better answer for that one. Because, like I said, that is what I'm trying to do. But at this point, I'm doing it in the same way I do everything, which is head down, running forward, using myself as a battering ram, trying to get shit done. That's the best I got. So, yeah, it's a fun ride that way. I love her so much. She just really wants food. I might try and feed her when I'm on break after the Q&A. Oh god, I have to burp. Fuck. Excuse me. I'm so sorry. My stream keeps freezing. This is so hydrophobic. Yeah, I'm pretty sure we're actually the same person. Crap. Stop! I will lock you out of the room. Go away. So I have two other questions. One's kind of fun, and the other one is gonna be me being a fucking cliche and weird. Anyway, so the first one is, if you could live on any planet other than Earth, which one and why? Assuming equal living conditions. Probably... honestly, probably Jupiter. I've always loved Jupiter since I was a kid, and when I was in 7th grade, nope, 8th grade. When I was in 8th grade, we actually, one of our assignments was to design a planetary resort. Choose a planet, design a resort. And like, you learned about the planet by making a brochure, and mine was on Jupiter. And I will just always and forever remember that I made a note that flammables like lighters were not allowed. So, yeah, that was, I think I would stick with Jupiter, for the answer on that one. Always kind of had a soft spot for it in my heart. And the answer to the next question is one... Oops. Hang on. I have two left. One of them is one of the 10s. One of the 3 10s. So back to a slightly more serious. What qualities do you find are most important in a friend? Honesty, communication, loyalty. Those are the 3 things. And these 3 things do not always mean what people think. Honesty means call me out on my bullshit. Communication means I call you out and we have a talk about it. Or you call me out and we have a talk about it. Loyalty, same thing. Like, you just... if you communicate with someone and you trust someone, then loyalty just kind of comes with that. You know? So yeah, those are the 3 things. Gee, anybody wonder why I'm a Hufflepuff? From the universe of an unknown author. Bitch. Anyway. So, the very last question is one that I have responded to because it's come up in many ways, which is, do you have any extravagant dreams or desires, even if it's realistically impossible? Yes. I want a really, like, nice old hotel that I could buy and remodel and give a bunch of rooms, like it remodel nicely, not into like a hotel again. No, remodel it into like a house, like a mansion. And I want to be able to live there and just offer my friends a room whenever, for however long they need. You want to live there permanently? Great. You're my new roomie. You want to be there for a week? Perfect. You can be there for that long. That is what I would want, because kind of some things that I've realized over the years is I have very often looked for geographic nice locations, and I did love the Pacific Northwest and would love to go back. But it's more what I got into was I realized that I needed the people and cared less about where I was so long as I had people. This is a common theme in this stream right now. Have you guys noticed? Thank you, because you're those people. You've had this idea for as long as I've known you and for sure would be there for it. Yes, Shelly! Shelly is actually my oldest friend right now. So when she says that I've had this idea for as long as she's known me, she means like, oh good God. Are we coming up on 10 years? We might be. That's literally one of my dreams. Crad and I confirmed, same person. And if we're going to go into the unrealistic side of things, we're going to toss in, like, barn, horses, animals of all kinds. A lot of weed. I was going to say 10 as well. Yeah, I think it was 10, because it was after Colorado, before the end of Oregon, and I turned 21 in Colorado, and 22 in Oregon, and I'm 31 now. So yeah, it's about 10 years. Wow, time flies. Yeah, so that actually wraps the Q&A. That didn't take as long as I expected. My apologies. Or not my apologies. I don't know. I answered all your questions, I hope. I was in uni, I know that much. I think first year. Were you in for... Wow, yeah. Holy shit. That was great, Simon. Thank you, Crad. Yeah, if anyone has any other questions related to what I talked about today, any of the things, from my favorite color to, you know, my transition and surgery and whatnot, feel free to DM me. I have no qualms talking about any of this. I've had a handful of you over the past year message me sometimes and be like, yo, what about this? And sometimes it's in relation to me, sometimes it's in relation to a friend or a complete stranger, and I'm willing to help where I can and educate as I can. So,